Look, pain that you're going through, it is temporary. Just know that there's people who love you and there's people who want to see you succeed. Just reach to them and they'll be more than happy, like I am more than happy, to pull you up.
This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good afternoon, Cole Johnson. Previously, episode 264 of the 12-Minute Convos podcast. It's been just 2 years, 10 months, 16 days, 1 hour, and 45 minutes since we last recorded.
My show basically is sports on a national realm with entertaining bits. You get the hard-hitting sports stuff, but with an entertaining, sometimes humorous edge to it. So that's what I do.
That was then. This is now. Cole, how are you doing, my friend?
Wow, it's only been that long? I'm doing great, man. I really am doing wonderful. I really cannot complain about anything that's happening in life thus far. I really.
Well, that's wonderful. That is wonderful. That is great to hear. I'm glad to hear that. Now, when we last spoke, I think Cole Sportz was the biggest thing from the podcasting perspective that was going on. Please give us an update. What's going on there?
Well, Cole Sportz is still up and running. By that timestamp, the show would have been about 8 months in running. So now it's 3.5+ years.
Sweet.
So they'll celebrate the 4th anniversary of that show in January. And after my last appearance on 12-Minute Convos, 2 more podcasts decided to appear. I started Revelations, which is a general interview podcast where I get to interview anybody, podcasters, authors, business people, clergy, just regular people just telling their stories through an inspirational mean in ways. That started in 2017, and August of 2019 recently, I started a divorce/heartbreak self-help podcast called Get Over Divorce. And it was basically spawned by a book I wrote that's on the topic of divorce.
Yeah, tell us the name of the book. It felt as though you forgot the name of the book right there. Tell us the name, please.
Well, the name of the book is Be Better Than Before, but I learned this one lesson. Many people could listen or read something, but they need to have, I guess you could say, like an inroad to it. So there's a free audio before you even get to the book called How to Heal from Heartbreak for all divorcees and the heartbroken. Listen to that audio, and I think it would free you up to be the full person that you are, because basically heartbreak just takes you down. It makes you feel things that you shouldn't feel and gets you out of purpose. And so this audio puts you back in focus and purpose and actually gives you a newer perspective and more refreshed perspective on how to deal with heartbreak in life.
That's wonderful. So we can get that in the links below, folks, if you're listening. If you just want to go there immediately, it's getoverddivorce.org. Cole, you have a heart for the people. Speaking of heartbreak, it must be that you've had an experience where your heart has been broken or someone you've been with has had a situation like that. You could have stopped there, but you've decided to offer help. Where does that come from?
Well, Angela, it actually comes from the feeling of you're looking out and you're seeing how people live, and you want to be an assistance, you want to be a help, and you feel as though you have a tool that can help them get to the next level in life. And well, being that I am a Christian, I'm not supposed to keep that bottled inside of me. Like you said, I could just stop at, I had a divorce, I licked my wounds, I got remarried, my life is great, and I don't have to talk about it ever again. And I've known people who have taken that tack, not just in divorce, but just anything traumatic. But I've learned that there is a bigger freedom within me to share my story with others who need to hear it, because it makes me feel as though my life actually is worth what I'm supposed to do, because I'm supposed to pay that forward. And so I just have that itch and that need to pay it forward, to bring that sunshine to those who think that life isn't meant to be full of sun rays and life and positivity and goodness. So it's born from that. It's born from the need to share and the need to basically reach down and help someone and pull them up so that they could see life at a better, more advantageous position than they ever did before.
Coincidentally, the episode before you, which is with Dr. Mary J, you can hear where she's talking about the eagle's journey and how pain helps navigate the good things in life when reframed, when it's understood that this is part of the process. For those that are going through that, what would you say to them as the first step? I mean, yes, there's the audio there, but for those that are listening that need that unction to function, what would you say?
I would simply say this: you have to look at yourself and know that you can't lick this by yourself. Now, there's times throughout the process where you need to be by yourself, no question about that. But there just comes a time where you have to be open to other avenues and other ways as to how to get from this abysmal part of life to, quite frankly, the summit, mountaintop part of life. All people who have gone through journeys that has taken them from rags to riches, so to speak, whether it is financial or emotional, they've had help along the way. And that really is what anybody, and I had to understand this myself, has to do. You have to come to terms with the fact that you can't do this totally and solely on your own. You think you can, but you'll find yourself stuck at some point in some time in some juncture in your journey that, wait a minute, someone has been in my shoes and has looked better than I do. I got to seek out that resource. You have to get to that point in your life, in that journey. You have to get that to that understanding of, man, I need a resource. I need to find how success with my journey looks like.
What I've found and what fascinates me as well is how someone who has been through can help another person that's going through so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I love the 12-minute Convos podcast, right? It's like getting to the point as quickly as possible, getting into the conversation. But it fascinates me how someone who's been there can quickly assess a situation. And of course, there are scenarios where there needs to be longer sessions of conversation. But to be able to see that, it just accentuates the fact that it is your pain that helps another individual in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And while it's challenging to go through your pain, to know that this too shall help someone else is great, isn't it?
It is. And the best part about it is when you get to this side of the painful journey, you get to understand that, wow, there's a purpose for this. And when you're in it, you just want to rid yourself of the feeling. It's like, man, let me just get out of this. I don't want to feel this type of pain. It's horrible. It hurts, and it does. It's painful. But when you get to the other side and you look back at those journeys and you look back at those times and you say, wow, man, I'm so much better the person now than I was then. And that journey has made all of what I had to deal with worth it. And then you get to the point where you realize that, well, the other aspect of going through pain is to help others get to where you are now. I'm now at that spot where I can look and see, oh, wow, they're suffering from heartbreak. Oh, wow, that person needs an encouraging word. Oh, wow, this person needs this resource. There was a time where, heck, almost before I got to this point where I didn't want to share that. But now there is such a freedom to do it because it is a pleasure to see people grow from when you meet them in their pain and then you see them at the end. And it's like, wow, I can actually see how it looks outside of my own skin. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
You shared about wine and the power of, as it gets older, it gets better. Definitely the process isn't captured in that mind memory bubble, right? When you think about it, it's just like, the wine goes from new to old and it gets better. But the process, again, is the challenge, isn't it? And I'm still glad to know that you, my friend, have remained consistent. Any way along the path, you could have stopped podcasting, right? You could have said, you know what, that's enough, and I'm not going to continue with that. But stepping in here as your podcast accountability partner, Cole, it feels great to have the opportunity to call just almost 3 years after and have a conversation with you and hear that you're still providing hope for others through the mic. So I thank you for that. My friend, in closing, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Well, just know that, look, pain that you're going through, it is temporary, but it is worth it. And you will see the results when you get to the other side. And it's a joy to live life. And, as like I said, I do 3 podcasts where all 3 of them show that there is joy to have in life, and it can emanate from you and you can grab it from others. Just know that there's people who love you and there's people who want to see you succeed, even in your most downtrodden times. And just reach to them and they'll be more than happy, like I am more than happy, to pull you up.
Love it. Again, amazing audience. Cole Johnson. Cole, thank you again for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. This podcast is produced by Pod Edits. Visit podedits.com for professional podcast publishing.